Hey, good morning, guys. I promised you I would give you an explanation on what we did on the Triton. It's a 2006 TR 186 with a 135 Mercury on it. So, what do we start with? First thing was it's got poles on it. Neither one of the poles worked great. One didn't work at all. So we pulled the pumps. The reservoirs were full of jelly fluid. I don't know how long it's been in there, but it's been in there a while. We pulled them, tried to flush them, get them to work, found out that somebody had been in them and didn't put it back together right. Seals weren't right, so we took them out again. I took them to Power Pole in Tampa, and turns out any of the hydraulic components in Power Pole pumps are warranted pretty much for a lifetime. So they fixed it for free. I dropped them off. I said it'd be, a few hours. And before I got home, they called me and said they were ready. So I picked them up the next day, brought them back, put them in, put new fluid in. They work like a charm. We programmed them to the stomp pedals. Everything works great. That was probably the simplest thing we've had to work on. So the lower unit, which is over there in that crate, and yes, we're still scattered everywhere. We're still working on a new shop. You see it over there. We started running electrical the other day. We got the foam for it. Anyway, we're still a mess. We're getting there, but we're still a mess. So that is the busted up lower unit. When we pulled the plug to check the fluid, water ran out. There was no fluid in it. Pinion gear was just shot. You grabbed a shaft in it. Anyway, new lower unit from SEI Marine in Oldsmar, Florida. About $1,100. They had it in stock. I took a picture while I was in their warehouse. It's amazing. I'll throw it up here now because it's crazy how much stuff 15 foot tall they had stock. So if you need a lower unit, call them. Or they got a great website. The only problem we had with that lower is one of the rear studs was missing. The other one was stripped when we took the nut off of it. Ordered new rear studs. One thing that I learned is that the front 3 studs are coarse thread. The 2 rear studs are fine thread. And when I ordered the new nuts with the rear studs, they gave me the wrong ones. I didn't check it. We tried to tighten them up. Thought it was just the nylock washer that was tightening. It wasn't. We wound up stripping the threads because we were putting coarse thread on a fine thread. Anyway, lesson learned. I got 2 more studs and we got that done. One of the things that we were working on was when you turn the key on. By the way, the guy just bought this boat a week before he brought it to me. He got a good deal on the boat, dollar-wise, but it needed a bunch of little stuff. So the first thing is you turn the key on, you didn't hear the beep. So we're trying to figure out what was going on. We found out that somebody had just come back here and just cut wires until the beep stopped. Instead of what it was the port side head temp sensor for the over temp alarm. And they had just cut it. So we got that figured out. We got one ordered. We are adding gauges. Oh, what else did we do? We just did a quick tune-up on the motor. The filter hadn't been changed since 2018. Is that what was on the filter? So yeah, 7 years since we think it had a tune-up. We think they rebuilt the motor, the power head, in 2018 because the power head has obviously been rebuilt. And that was the date on the filter. So motor sounds strong. We did a compression check. Everything was over 90 cold. Probably will come up when we get it warmed up. What else do we have back here with electrical, Dave?
We're putting this in here.
Oh yeah, we added, because take a look at this dash. This is the way, well, it had the cowling and the windscreen on it, but this is the dash as he bought it. These switch panels were in, but this is all we had to work with. So what I did, and I'll show you that in a minute, is I ordered a dash. But one of the things we're doing is we're adding an actual temperature gauge And so we ordered a temp gauge sending unit, and because we found a threaded port that was not being used, so we're adding temp. So he will actually have a gauge. We'll get into the gauge stuff in a minute. We went through all the electronics, straightened up the wiring in the back, mounted the disconnect switches, the battery on-off switches, because they were just kind of floating in there. He's got a kind of a hodgepodge of batteries, but you know, that's on him. He can fix that if he wants to. They seem to all be working. We did a function check on the nav lights. The anchor light worked fine. We couldn't get any power to the nav light plug, so we pulled it out, and it wasn't connected to anything. I don't know what's the story behind that, but anyway, we traced the wires and got it working fine on the switch. So now all that's done. We've just been playing. Well, we've had this boat for almost 2 weeks now. We not worked on it solid for 2 weeks, doing other things, but because we're waiting on parts. It's an old motor. Between my inventory and what Dave had in his pocket, we had a lot of stuff we needed, but we had to order some parts, and we're still waiting on the port side temp sensor, which is the beep. It's just when it gets to a certain temp, it just goes off. You don't have any idea, but what we're going to do is actually have a temp gauge so you know about it before it gets critical. So here's what I've done with the dash. Well, let's go inside where I'm working on it. Eventually everything will be done over there, but right now we're still kind of hodgepodge. Oops, dropped the camera. All right, here's what we're working on. We've got a new GPS tack, or a new GPS speedo tack. We're putting water temp with the new sensor, water pressure, which we've already checked the line coming off the motor and it's fine. A new fuel gauge, and what else are we doing? New fuel gauge and a voltage gauge. So I'm in the process. I ordered from C&O Marine in Tennessee. Now, those people are amazing. Barbara helped me out with this one. This is the original dash for a 2006 TR-186. When Triton and Stratus moved to Arkansas, C&O Marine wound up with all of the inventory for all of the old boats. So I bought stuff in the past for my Triton, a bunch of stuff a couple years ago when I redid it. Anytime we've needed something, they've had it, which is crazy. Oh, I got the windscreen for the Stratus. They've had everything in stock. So this is the new outside dash piece. That dash is floppy bad. They were never very well built to begin with. It was thin, but when everything was new, it was solid enough. This morning, I played with cardboard, cut me a template. This is going to go behind and make a sandwich in that dash hole. I'm going to make this out of a 1/4 inch starboard, so we won't have any chance of rust or rot. I thought about epoxy coated plywood, but I had this piece that'll work, so we're going to use 1/4 inch starboard to make a sandwich out of. And then I've laid out, see, this dash piece typically came with the speedo and the tack, and then there was a small graph in the middle. Fortunately, it came solid because we're going to add 2 more gauges here that he didn't have in the boat to start with. So I ordered the instrument kit from Amazon. It did not have water pressure. It did come with oil pressure, but this is a 2-stroke, so we don't need that. So I found the matching water pressure gauge, so that's what we're going to put in. Now, to get ready to do this, I found the center, drawing a line. I found the center point, and these are the holes that I'm going to drill for the 2 smaller gauges. We found the right size hole saws. Like I said, they're oddball sizes. They're millimeter sizes to cut this. Like this is a 53 millimeter. I don't remember what that one was. And then in the black piece behind it, we're gonna go one size bigger, so there's plenty of room to put it together, because this piece is gonna be held in with 4 screws, and you'll be able to remove it with the 4 gauges, and then it drops back in through this sandwich piece. So that's what I'm working on now. Dave is still buttoning up the final wiring. We're getting ready to fire this thing up, and hopefully tomorrow we can put it in the water and do a function test. So anyway, that's what we're working on. Y'all stick around. All right, so here's what's going on. I don't know if you guys noticed, but I was cutting this in reverse, slow as I can, because you're gonna crack this stuff. And it was $135 for this little piece of plastic and 3 days to get it here, so I don't wanna make that mistake. But then, I was trying to cut my last hole, it started wandering on me a little bit. So what I went and did is I got my countersink bit. I'm going to countersink the X where I want this bit to penetrate properly. Which I probably should have done this to start with, but now with that countersink in, my bit's not going to wander anymore. Just a little tip. The other thing I was doing is I was trying to keep it lined up. So now I have a perfect pattern for the center of my backer piece that I'm going to cut larger diameter holes in, but I'll have center holes because I've been trying to keep it lined up while I'm drilling these so that I have a perfect match when it's time to put it all together. That's the plan anyway. We'll see how that works out. So yeah. All right, guys. Whew, hot day. Got to about 90 today. Even got some sprinkles a few minutes ago. But here is the finished dash, sort of. It's not 100% done yet, but this is the piece that I was working on first. I put the field gauge and the voltage gauge in. This is just sitting in here now. We got wiring to still do. I want to show you what it looked like at the end. This is just sitting in here. This is the backing piece. It's all screwed in here now. We got some cleanup to do. I don't know what these people were doing. The people before that owned the boat before this guy did. But yeah, it's an interesting. It was an interesting temporary fix. No gauges, obviously, but now we have gauges. So minor things left to do is to finish wiring this. We're still waiting on one sensor on the motor. We need to run. We have one wire to run for the actual temperature gauge, not just the alarm, and put it in the water and test it. I got like real job things to do in the morning, but we're gonna piddle with it tomorrow afternoon. Hopefully it splashes on Monday and the owner comes and gets it Tuesday. So that's the goal. Anyway, that's where we're at. We get it all finished up, put in the water. I'll get another shot of it for you guys. But yeah, just a quick, update. And gauges, dash, lower unit, some minor wiring stuff, rebuild the poles. He's going to take care of all the cosmetics himself. But yeah, we've probably got 15 hours in it now. Total, including searching for parts and running and getting parts, or just everything fought us on this boat. But this boat is 19 years old and it's had some not so great mechanics work on it before we got it, so we had to kind of fight through that, but we're getting there. So that's it for today for the TR 186. Hopefully we get this out of here, the Stratus comes back over here, and we get busy on finishing it up. So that's it, guys. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.